Hey DIYers, Dylan here with Alarm Grid. Today we're going to review how to enter walk test mode on the PROA7PLUS system. So when you are entering walk test mode, that is usually done during your initial installation of the system. This is done to make sure that all the sensors are communicating properly with the system itself. So if you trigger a system, we'll show it obviously. It's going to check off on a list to let you know that it is communicating properly with the panel. This is so you don't have to set off your alarm when you're trying to test your sensors, and this is a good assurance to you that everything is working properly where you have it installed. And then if not, then you know that you either need a range extender or to move the sensor if possible, or move the system. So we'll go over how to enter walk test mode. We're going to trigger that with our front door sensor that we have set up and already programmed to the system. That's going to populate on a list so we know it's working properly, and that will be pretty much all there is to it. So you can do this with other sensors as well, not just door sensors. Pretty much any sensor you have programmed to this, it's going to work. Motion sensors, glass breaks, smoke detectors. You just have to activate those sensors so they trigger that on the walk test mode. Okay, so we have our PROA7PLUS system here. We're going to go ahead and enter into walk test mode. Now, just before I do that, on the PROA7PLUS, obviously, when you're doing this, you want to have your system disarmed. If the system is armed, this is not going to work. The way that you enter walk test mode on the PROA7PLUS is the exact same for the PROWLTOUCH secondary touchscreen keypad for the system. And if you also have the PROSiXLCDKP, that's the push button keypad, obviously it doesn't have a screen, so it is a little bit different on that. For that, you would enter in either your master code or the installer code, followed by 51, and that's going to enter you into the walk test mode on that specific keypad. So I'll show you here on the PROA7PLUS. So we have our system disarmed. We're going to go to the bottom three here. That's going to pull up our menu. We're going to go to Tools. So we have to scroll down to Tools. And for the code, you can enter either the master code, which is the main arm and disarm code, or the installer code. In this case, I'm going to enter our installer code, which is still the default 4112. Okay. After that, we will go to System Tests and then Test Sensors. Okay, so this is going to pull in the walk test option. We're going to do Start Test here. Okay, so we're in the test mode. We had that loud confirmation beep. Now, before I activate our sensor here, which is our door sensor, if you have the PRO6 siren, either the outdoor version or the indoor version, the PRO6 smoke heat CO combo, or just the PRO6 CO, which is carbon by itself, or PRO6 smoke, which is smoke and heat. Those activate automatically and will pull into your list. And those devices will sound briefly, just so you know. So if you're not near them, you know that they were triggered, and they will learn into here automatically. If you have a motion viewer, which is essentially a motion sensor with a camera on it, that's going to go into test mode automatically, and all you'll need to do is walk in front of those devices. There'll be a red LED on that device which activates, and then that'll pull into here as well. If you have a motion sensor, so that's the non-camera version, such as the Pro6 PIR, you have to put that device into a test mode, and you can do that with what is called the light test, where essentially you get a flashlight. You stand within 4 feet of that sensor. You pass the beam back and forth in front of the motion sensor. And then that will have the motion sensor enter into test mode, where you'll see a red LED light up on that each time it detects you walking by. So when it's in that test mode, walk by the sensor, and then it'll populate on this list. Glass break sensors, some specific ones have their own version of a test. But if you have a glass break simulator, which is a device that plays the sound of glass breaking, that will usually be good enough to trigger that device and have it show up on the test here. So we have our door sensor, which is obviously the easiest. This is the same for doors and windows. All you have to do is open and close that sensor. So I'm going to do that right now. Open, close.
Front door.
Okay.
Open.
And then as we heard on the system, it did enunciate and did the chime. So when you're testing those other sensors, it's going to do that same thing. It's going to say the zone name. So if you have someone by the panel, if you're by the panel itself, it will show on the list here, and it's going to play that audible kind of alert so you know as well. Since this is a PRO6 sensor, the PRO6 and the 6 sensors will show up with a signal strength. That is the RF signal strength of how well this is communicating to the panel. And then it's also going to show a battery life. So that's letting us know the life of the battery, essentially. So if you have a low battery, that's going to show there. So we have that pulled into there. Since we're only testing one sensor here, our list is fairly short. But again, you can trigger those other devices if you have them. And our FAQ that we have goes into more detail on that as well. So since this is all good, I'm going to end the test here.
Disarmed. Ready to arm.
Okay, that takes us out of the test mode, and we can just back out to our main screen, and we're essentially back in the disarm state. Now, something to mention as well, when you're doing the walk test mode, even though it doesn't necessarily trigger an alarm, if your system is monitored with a central station, it is always a good idea to contact them and let them know to place the account on test. That way, just in case anything happens, if a siren sounds or anything like that, if they happen to get a signal, they know not to respond to it. So yeah, just make sure you contact your monitoring company or contact the central station directly, have them place your account on test, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so that is how you enter into walk test mode on the PROA7PLUS system. Again, this is the best thing to do when you want to test your sensors, normally during the first installation, or if you're adding sensors in the future after the main system's already been installed. You enter that walk test mode, you trigger those sensors, and then it'll populate on that list that we showed you here. Again, for 6 sensors or PRO6 sensors, that's going to show you the signal strength as well as the battery. Now, if you're using the Pro Takeover module in the system, and you have older legacy sensors, either Honeywell 5800, PROSeries, which is 319.5 megahertz, or DSC, which is 433 megahertz, those sensors, since they're not encrypted and essentially made for the system, they're not going to show you that signal strength or that battery life. They're just going to show that they populate there. Only the PRO6 and the 6 sensors will show you that signal strength and the battery life. If you did like the video, please like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified about any future videos we release. If you had any questions for us, feel free to contact us. Our support phone number is 888-818-7728. We have an email address as well, which is support@alarmgrid.com. And if you come to our website, www.alarmgrid.com, we have a support chat on there as well. So feel free to reach out to us in any of those ways, and we'll be happy to assist you. Again, my name is Dylan from Alarm Grid, and thank you for watching.